Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Tulsi Gabbard, the ODNI's release of information, the research she's been doing for months and her team into the biolabs that we have all over the world. So we have 120 biolabs in 30 different countries. I'm going to get into it. I very much appreciate if you'd like, share, and subscribe. Huge boost to the channel. Greatly appreciated. I've got a video for you of Tulsi explaining some things, a couple minutes long. We'll watch that. We're going to go over some other things. Let's start with the video. Here we go.
After months of searching through intelligence community holdings and files, today I'm releasing new evidence of long-standing U.S. government funding of more than 120 biolabs in over 30 countries. Now, these biolabs include labs in places like Ukraine, which could be at risk of compromise due to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. In fact, the intelligence community had previously warned that a U.S.-funded biolab in Ukraine likely housed dangerous pathogens and remained vulnerable to long-standing threats of Russian attack, seizure, or damage. Now, until now, evidence regarding the full existence and funding of these laboratories had been knowingly withheld from you, the American people. Many of these U.S. government-funded biolabs are currently or have previously engaged in research using hazardous and highly contagious pathogens, and in some cases included dangerous gain-of-function research with very little visibility or oversight. Now, President Trump clearly understands the serious threat dangerous gain-of-function research poses to the American people. And this is why he took decisive action over a year ago. On May 25th, 2025, he signed an executive order to end federal funding of gain-of-function research around the world. Here at ODNI, I issued new guidance to the intelligence community directing increased collection on these laboratories and facilities overseas. And we're already seeing the results of this increased collection. We're learning new details, for example, on clinical trials that are underway at these facilities and that are raising significant ethical, financial, and security concerns regarding the supposed public health initiatives and U.S. national security. Now, despite the obvious potential for catastrophic global impact that research on dangerous pathogens in biolabs can have, politicians and so-called health professionals like Dr. Fauci, as well as entities within the Biden administration's national security team, lied repeatedly to the American people about the existence of U.S.-funded and supported biolabs. Not only did they lie, they threatened those who attempted to expose the truth. So this release today breaks new ground, as the information surrounding the existence, history, locations, and funding of these U.S.-funded biolabs has been intentionally covered up by very powerful people who falsely claimed that these biolabs didn't exist. Now, they accuse anyone who says otherwise to be foreign assets and traitors to America.
I just wanted to pause it for a second. That is just astounding. We all remember in 2020, 2021, the next couple of years, you couldn't even post anything without getting censored. You tried talking about anything, and this is the same playbook that these people are using. Pretty much any opposition to frame them as a foreign asset, and the gain of function end of this, I mean, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but that could lead to the apocalypse, and I'm so glad she did this report.
Now, ODNI will continue working closely with partners across the U.S. government to identify exactly where these labs are and what pathogens they contain to end dangerous gain-of-function research that threatens the health and well-being of the American people and people around the world.
So everyone understands how bad this could go. In the 90s, a bioweapons researcher, a PhD, multiple PhDs in the former Soviet Union, defected to the United States. And he told us that they had weaponized smallpox so that it would kill 100% 5% of the people. Now, normally smallpox spreads by touching an infected person or something they touched. You know, the whole Trail of Tears that happened with the army handing out the blankets from infected people that they'd been using and killed so many. Well, they had engineered this so that it would spread like the flu. Okay, so there are pathogens out there that literally could remove 9.9 out of 10 people on the planet. So this is no small matter in any way. And the fact that the government has been gaslighting anyone who would stand in the way. Look, I love my country. I even love my government, but I don't love a lot of the things that my government does, especially this kind of stuff. There is evidence, coming out now about what the little ghoul did, and you know who I'm talking about, Dr. F. Some of the things that he did, the things he knew during COVID, that he directly lied to the American people, that are just unforgivable. And I don't care what pardon he got from Biden. He didn't get pardoned from we the people. He didn't get that pardon. He got a pardon from a, installed president, the type of installation like you perform on a toilet. All right, now let's look at a little of this. ODNI release alleges that some of these overseas laboratories have engaged or are engaging in controversial gain-of-function research, like we were just talking about. Coinciding with the release, President Trump in 2025 ended all gain-of-function research. Gabbard has additionally issued a formal directive ordering U.S. intelligence, the community, to prioritize data collection from these overseas facilities, because see, they're hiding them. There are billions of dollars invested here, and some of this is they want to keep their weapons safe. But another part of this is there are people out there who believe that man is the enemy of their God, which is the planet. This is the save the whales and kill the babies crowd. And the rich elites, that billionaire class, the Rockefellers, and all the people who go to worship at that stone owl and all these other secret societies, these people truly believe that sort of thing. And they see us as the enemy. And they would like to remove, like, the Georgia Guidestones, which are no more. But they said that the world population should be 500 million, and that's it. Well, that only leaves us about 7.5 billion short of what we have, maybe more. Hard to know exactly. But what I'm saying is these are evil people. So they estimate just in Ukraine alone, there's 40 to 46 of these biolabs. And they were primarily backed through the Pentagon's Biological Threat Reduction Program, which dates back to 2005. And it's for Soviet-era biological warfare pathogens and public health surveillance. But nothing good has come out of this. And in fact, in our lifetimes, we've seen a, hashtag quote, air quotes, accidental release that cost, I think 100 million more worldwide. And so we need to see these people held accountable. Listen to the pathogens they're working with. These guys are working with especially dangerous pathogens. They're called EDPs. Specific examples are anthrax, Ebola, MERS, SARS, swine fever, the plague, from the Dark Ages, and the fatality rate of just those, organisms that I just mentioned is so high that should they be released and, contracted in, like I described what they did with smallpox, in like a flu through the aerosolized manner, again, we could see just death and destruction on a level that none of us can even contemplate. The records indicate the Kharkov facility had historical biosafety deficiencies, particularly regarding the handling of brucella. That's another one that they were working with. Gabbard criticized previous administrations and health officials, specifically pointing to past leadership like Dr. F, alleging they lied to the American people and engaged in risky experiments with minimal oversight. No oversight. The release of this document by Tulsi's group highlights past systemic failures. A Department of Defense inspector general watchdog report previously noted that the Pentagon was unable to track how many enhanced pandemic pathogens were being studied internationally, despite spending $1.4 billion on experiments between 2014 and 2023. Understand, that's not their budget. That's just for that program. The office, the ODNI, stated it will continue auditing interagency files to pinpoint the exact coordinates of all remaining labs, like she just said, inside these facilities, permanently terminate U.S. funded gain-to-function research worldwide. Now, this is absolutely 100% necessary. We've already seen how it can spill over into the public and cause a disaster. And even worse, we've seen the people in power use that as a way to take away your freedoms. There were cities in the US during, the Big C that the people were locked down for literally years. They wore masks everywhere. They dealt with it. Now, I live in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and we didn't act like that. But there were a lot of places like San Francisco is one, where they were just totally compliant. The science crowd who wanted you to feel horrible if you didn't take a certain medicine. You were a bad person. Oh, I got a little, news for them. When you change the definition of vaccination, which they certainly did do, I don't remember if it was 21 or 22, but they changed the definition because their concoction didn't meet the definition. It didn't, offer coverage that prevented you from becoming ill. It didn't do anything that the traditional definition of vaccination meant. So I thought this was an important story to bring to you guys and keep you apprised of it. And as we get more information, I'll update you on this. And we'll look at it together. Thanks for being here. I hope you'll share the video out. Important subject. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.